I'd like to talk about one of the weirdest Switch games in my collection, and that is Master Detective Archive's Rehncohro. This is the spiritual successor to Danganronpa, and what's weird about it? The fact that it was released as a Switch exclusive. So the Danganronpa series I got into when the games released on PC, and the games originally started off as exclusive to the PlayStation systems. So it is very odd to me that when the series gets a follow-up, it's exclusive to a Nintendo console. And that's not all. There was a Danganronpa spin-off that was a timed exclusive on the Switch, which is Danganronpa S, which is that expansion of the board game from the third game, but with gacha elements, which it's a nice waste of time. I just think it's odd that it was Switch exclusive at one point, because this is a series that started off on PlayStation and was exclusive to PlayStation for a while. So the fact that a spin-off would just one day be exclusive to a Nintendo console just seemed weird. But there weren't any plans to bring it to other consoles from what I hear, but they ended up bringing it to PlayStation and Steam eventually, which honestly is for the better. But as for this game, it's weird having an M-rated third-party game be exclusive to a Nintendo platform. This isn't really, the only time that's happened. I mean, well, Devil's Third ended up being owned by Nintendo at one point, so that's not really third-party. It was third-party originally, but Nintendo ended up publishing it on the Wii U. But this one's entirely third-party. It's just weird that this exists as a Switch exclusive, because honestly, it doesn't really feel like something that belongs just on the Switch, because it kind of feels more like a PlayStation game, or even a PC game, because honestly, on Steam and PlayStation, it would feel right at home on those platforms, because that's the kind of game it is. But on Switch, it's not like it doesn't deserve to be on the Switch. It's just weird that it would be released just on the Switch. As for the game itself, I do think it's a good time. There are some things it actually does better than Danganronpa, and some things that Danganronpa does better than this new game. Anyways, so I'd like to talk about, the game for a bit. So, the structure and the format, it's pretty similar to the original Danganronpa series. It's a mystery game. You play as a detective, going around solving these mysteries. You do investigations, gather evidence, and then, you have to counter arguments and stuff to find the truth. But it's handled in a very different way. You're no longer stuck in high school, being trapped in a situation where the only way out is to kill everyone else, or try to find who committed murder. These are still murder cases. It's just, it's not handled in the same way as Danganronpa. The way it's handled, the investigations, the gameplay, that part is fine, and honestly, it's way less of a visual novel than the original series was, because the original Danganronpa games, they were more visual novels, although some people would argue that they're not, but because, they've got plenty of actual gameplay elements. And some people just call them hybrid visual novels, which I think is more of a fair description. This game right here is more interactive movie than visual novel, to be honest. And there are a handful of quick time events, too. And honestly, I am pretty slow and not always a fast thinker, so when I have to quickly pick the right answer, I'm not always going to pick it. And, I'm not always gonna, be paying complete attention, so I'm not gonna fully think things through, and I'll just hit a random option and then fail and lose some health or something. Anyways, the mysteries in this game, for the most part, I think are handled way, way better than in Danganronpa. They're way more interesting. And when you get to the end, there is, a huge, huge twist, which is one of the best twists in any game. It is one of the most surprising. I'm not going to spoil it, but I will say this, what comes at the end is going to be something you're not going to be expecting at all. It is a pretty big one, and a pretty cool one too. But the gameplay, talking about that again, and Danganronpa, after you finish the investigations, you would have like class trials where the students would discuss the case, try to figure out who the killer was. This time, you're transported to another world called like the Mystery Labyrinth, and you have to run through trying to, present evidence to counter arguments. It's very similar to the class trials, but how it's presented is much different. In the class trials, it was just a discussion, and the flow of discussion, for the most part, felt pretty natural. But in the Mystery Labyrinth, they all feel, thrown together. I feel like there's no natural flow of discussion. They're interesting for sure, but, they really could be fleshed out some more, because they're not really as good as they could be. I'm not going to say they're not fun, because, I did enjoy running through them. I just wish they were thought out a little better and, had much better flow to them. Because, at the end of the day, it was still a fun game. And there were some interesting twists and turns I wasn't expecting. I definitely recommend this if you're interested. I do think it being a Switch exclusive kind of harmed it, because I don't really see that many people talking about Master Detective Archives Rehncohro compared to, Danganronpa. And fun fact, it's the first M-rated game I bought physically. And one thing I think is interesting is this game itself, Danganronpa V3, it does lie to you. Heck, even before you play it. I do think it's an interesting game and would love the series to continue. And they did end it in a way that implies there are plans to make more, so I look forward to seeing what happens next with this series.